You didn't plan for this, did you? You were trying to be strong, trying to hold everything together. But then it all came crashing down. And now you're numb, wondering if you'll ever feel okay again. But I want you to hear this. It didn't break you. It broke what was false inside you. You think the pain means you've failed. You think it means you weren't strong enough. But that's not true, not even close. This pain didn't come to destroy you. It came to reveal you. There were parts of you holding on so tightly, to people, to a version of success, to an identity that wasn't even yours. You tried to become who others wanted you to be. You tried to smile when your heart was screaming. You tried to hold everything together, even when nothing inside you felt real anymore. And then it all collapsed. Not because you were weak, but because that version of your life was never real. It was built on fear, on pressure, on stories you told yourself just to feel safe. That's why it hurts so much. Not because you lost something true, but because you were forced to see what was never truly yours. You thought you needed their approval to be enough. You thought you had to succeed by a certain age. You thought love meant staying quiet, even when it broke you. But those beliefs were never yours. They were borrowed from society, from family, from pain that was passed down to you. And now the illusion is cracking. That's what this moment is. Not your downfall, your awakening. Because the real you, the one who doesn't need to pretend, the one who can breathe without needing to be perfect, that you is rising now. And yes, it's uncomfortable. Letting go of fake identities always is. It feels like losing something, but it's actually freedom. You're not breaking, you're shedding. You're finally stepping out of the mask you wore for too long. This isn't the end of your story. It's the part where you stop surviving for everyone else and start living for the truth inside you. So breathe. Don't run from this pain. Let it teach you. Let it clean the mirror so you can finally see who you really are. You think you're drowning, but maybe this ocean was meant to cleanse you. You feel like you're drowning, like you're in the middle of something too deep, too heavy, too much to carry. No shore in sight, no one to pull you out, just wave after wave of emotions. Pain, confusion, fear, silence. You keep whispering to yourself, I can't do this anymore. But somehow, you're still here. You think this moment is your end, that you're slipping under, that you're about to disappear. But what if this ocean, the one you're struggling to survive in, was never meant to kill you? What if it was meant to cleanse you? Because here's the truth. Sometimes life throws us into the storm not to punish us, but to wash away everything that doesn't belong in the next chapter of our life. You've been carrying so much. Expectations that weren't yours, guilt that didn't belong to you, pain that should have been released a long time ago. You tried to be strong for everyone. You tried to look okay when you were breaking inside. You held it in because no one ever asked how you were really doing. And now, it's all rising. The emotions, the exhaustion, the sadness you buried to keep the world comfortable. This ocean, it's not your enemy. It's your mirror. It's showing you everything you locked away, and it's saying, let go now. Let the water carry the weight. Let the tears fall. Let the silence speak. You don't need to hold everything together anymore. You don't need to swim with a smile. You just need to surrender. Not give up, surrender. There's a difference. Surrender says, I trust that even though I don't understand this, it's here to teach me something. Because when your old self starts to die, it doesn't go quietly. It fights. It panics. It makes you feel like you're losing everything. But all you're really losing is who you thought you had to be. You're not drowning. You're being emptied so that something real can enter. And when it does, you'll rise. Not as someone patched together by survival, but as someone purified by truth. You won't fear the ocean anymore, because you'll realize it didn't drown you, it delivered you. You feel forgotten, but the truth is, you're being remade in private. You feel forgotten by people, by life, by the world that used to need you. You used to feel seen, heard, appreciated. But now, it's like the world kept moving, and you were quietly left behind. You check your phone, and no one's asking how you are. You enter rooms, and no one really notices. You share your heart and the silence that follows. It hurts. But what if this emptiness isn't what it seems? Buddhism teaches us, when the world withdraws, it may be a sign to return to yourself. This feeling of being forgotten isn't always abandonment. Sometimes it's a calling, a sacred space being opened just for you, a space where noise can't enter, a space where transformation becomes possible. Because the truth is, real change never happens in public. The flower doesn't bloom in front of the crowd. It blooms quietly beneath the surface, far before anyone sees color. The mountain doesn't form with noise. It's shaped in complete stillness. Over time, through pressure, no one witnesses. And right now, you are that unseen mountain. You think you're falling behind, but what if you're being carved into something deeper than success, deeper than recognition? The ego wants to be seen, but the soul, it just wants to be real. And that's what's happening here. The world went quiet, not to harm you, but to help you shed what you're not. All the labels, all the masks, all the identities you wore to fit in, they're falling off. And that process feels like loneliness, but really, it's liberation. Because when you're alone, and no one is clapping, and no one is watching, you get to ask, who am I when I have nothing to prove? And that is the real journey. You're not forgotten. You're being refined in silence. Life is pulling you inward, not as a punishment, but as a preparation. So that when you rise again, you're not seeking light. You are the light, so breathe. Let the silence do its work. Let the quiet shape you. Because when the time comes, and the world meets you again, it won't be the same you. It will be someone softer, wiser, stronger, and no longer afraid of being unseen. Because now, you'll carry your peace from within. The people who walked away didn't abandon you. They left the version of you that no longer exists. They left, some slowly without a word, others quickly without an explanation, and you're still sitting there, wondering what went wrong, wondering what you could have done, wondering why people you once gave so much to could just disappear like you never mattered. You replay moments in your head, all the laughter, all the late-night talks, all the promises that now feel like lies. And you think to yourself, was I not enough? Was I that easy to forget? Did they ever really care? But pause for a second, breathe, and look deeper. Buddhism teaches us that everything in this life is impermanent. People, feelings, seasons, identities. Even you are not the same as you were yesterday. So how can we expect others to stay attached to a version of us that no longer exists? The people who walked away weren't abandoning you. They were detaching from the version of you that existed when you needed them, when you didn't know your worth, when you over-explained, when you kept shrinking yourself to make them comfortable. They were connected to who you used to be, not who you're becoming, and as painful as it feels, that disconnection is a sign of your growth. Because when you evolve, not everyone will recognize you anymore, and they're not supposed to. You're shedding old skins, old patterns, old ways of thinking, loving, surviving. And yes, that process is lonely, because not everyone is meant to walk with you to the next stage. Buddhism doesn't tell you to hate those who leave. It teaches you to let go with grace, to see their exit not as betrayal, but as a natural part of the path. Because the truth is, some people were only meant to love the unhealed you, the version that tolerated what you no longer do, the version that didn't yet know how powerful you really are. And now that you've started listening to your truth, you've outgrown what was never meant to last. You're not abandoned. You've out-evolved the old dynamics. You're not forgotten. You've simply become too real to be held by those who loved your mask more than your soul. So let them go. Without bitterness, without needing closure, without shrinking yourself just to fit back into the place they were comfortable with. Because this is your rebirth, and rebirth always comes with release. You don't need everyone to stay. You just need to keep becoming. Because the ones who belong in your life now will meet you at your new frequency, with presence, with peace, and with no fear of your growth. You can't recognize yourself anymore because your old self isn't coming back. You look in the mirror and something feels off. It's still your face, your eyes, your voice, but you don't recognize the person staring back at you. It's like part of you has vanished. The laughter feels different. The confidence is quieter. The energy you used to carry, it's just not there anymore. You try to go back to the things you used to love, but they don't spark anything. You try to hang out with the same people, but something feels disconnected. And inside, a quiet voice whispers, "What's happening to me?" You're not broken. You're not empty. You're not going backwards. You're just letting go of who you used to be. And here's the truth. That version of you, the one who kept people happy at the expense of your own peace, the one who said, "I'm fine," even when you were falling apart, the one who based their worth on being needed, being liked, being perfect, that version of you wasn't real. It was a survival mode, a mask, a temporary self created by the mind to cope with the world. But now, that mask is dissolving. Buddhism teaches there is no fixed self. What you think of as you is constantly changing. Thoughts, emotions, attachments, desires. They rise and fall like waves. They are not you. And when one version of you dies, it feels like something is going wrong. But something is finally going right. You're entering a space where the ego can no longer guide you, where the stories you told yourself don't hold power anymore, where the need to be someone is fading into the peace of just being. And yes, it's uncomfortable, because transformation always comes with grief. Grief for the old identity. Grief for the relationships that don't fit anymore. Grief for the emotions that once gave you meaning. But let that grief be sacred. You are not who you were. And that's not a loss. That's awakening. You're stepping into the unknown. You're living without the armor now. You're starting to see the world not through judgment or roles or labels, but through presence. You don't need to rush to find your new self, because the truth is, there's nothing to find. There is only this moment, only breath, only awareness. The old self isn't coming back, and that's okay, because in its place is space, stillness, freedom. So if you feel like you don't recognize yourself anymore, good. That means you've stopped pretending. That means the illusion is dying. That means your real life is just beginning. And this time, you don't need to be anyone but aware. You feel stuck, but your soul is doing its deepest work in stillness. You feel stuck, like your life is frozen in place. Like no matter how much effort you give, nothing moves. No big breakthroughs, no signs, no answers, just silence. You wake up and everything feels the same. You try to pray, meditate, journal, but your mind is restless. You try to force clarity, but it never arrives. And so you start to feel like you're wasting time, like life is passing you by, like you're falling behind everyone else who's building, growing, succeeding. But here's what most people never understand. Stillness is not failure. In Buddhism, stillness is sacred. The greatest transformations never happen in motion. They happen in silence, in slowness, in surrender. When a seed is planted in the soil, what's the first thing it does? It doesn't sprout upward, it grows roots, deep beneath the surface, invisible, unseen, but essential. And right now, that's you. Your soul is doing its deepest work. It's stretching, releasing, softening, undoing. But the mind, your ego, can't see that, because the ego only values action, progress, speed. It doesn't know how to sit in the quiet and trust the unseen. You are not stuck. You are being invited inward, to stop chasing, to stop proving, to stop forcing your way through life like it's a battle to be won. This stillness, it's a purification. Buddhism teaches us to sit with what is, not to resist it. And sometimes what is stillness. No direction, no instruction, just breathe. And that space, uncomfortable as it may be, is exactly where the ego dissolves, where the layers of your false self fall away, where truth, quiet truth, begins to rise. This is the chapter where nothing moves on the outside, because everything is shifting on the inside. You're not stuck, you're in spiritual incubation. You're being held in a pause so that your next move comes from wisdom, not fear, from alignment, not impulse, from clarity, not pressure. This season is not empty. It's full of invisible work. The healing of old wounds, the realignment of your purpose, the resetting of your nervous system, the quiet reprogramming of your entire being. And when it's time, when the stillness has finished its work, everything will begin to flow again. Not rushed, not forced, just natural, like a river remembering its course. So if you feel stuck, don't panic, don't run, don't try to escape the pause. Sit with it, breathe with it, bow to it. Because this isn't a delay, this is preparation. And when you rise, you'll rise rooted. Your future isn't ruined. It's being rewritten without the things that were secretly destroying you. You think it's over. The plan you had, The future you were building, the dream you held on to for years, it all collapsed. Quietly, suddenly, painfully, and now you're sitting in the ruins of it all, wondering how it slipped through your fingers, wondering why everything you worked for feels like a story with no ending. And the loudest thought that keeps echoing is, my future is ruined. But what if that thought isn't the truth? Buddhism teaches that attachment is the root of suffering, and most of us, without realizing it, get attached to futures that were never meant to hold us. We chase outcomes that look good on the outside, but quietly drain our spirit on the inside. We cling to people who make us feel needed, but never seen. We chase careers that give us identity, but not peace. We hold on to habits that distract us from the pain, but deepen the suffering over time. And when life rips those things away, it feels cruel. It feels like destruction, but it's not. It's clarity. It's correction. It's compassion in disguise. Your future is not ruined. It's being rewritten without the people, patterns, and beliefs that would have quietly destroyed your spirit over time. You see, the universe is always listening, not just to what you say you want, but to what your soul actually needs. And sometimes it hears your quiet prayers. I want peace. I want truth. I want to feel whole. And in order to answer those prayers, it has to take things away. Things you thought you couldn't live without. Things you once called everything. It feels like loss, but it's actually space. Space to breathe. Space to rediscover who you are beneath the chaos. Space to rebuild a future that's real, not performative. Fulfilling, not exhausting. Your future is not ending. It's being set free from what would have limited it, like a forest fire that burns down everything that no longer serves the land, so that new roots can grow, deeper, wiser, unshakable. So if you're grieving a version of your future right now, allow that grief. Let yourself cry for what you lost, but then remind yourself, not everything that leaves your life is a tragedy. Some exits are actually a rescue. This chapter of your life, it's not a punishment, it's a sacred rewrite. And when the next pages unfold, they will carry a different energy, not built from desperation, fear, or old wounds, but from alignment, stillness, truth. And you'll look back and realize nothing was ruined. You were just being saved. So when everything falls apart, don't chase, don't cling, don't beg for what's leaving. Just sit, breathe, and watch what's trying to rise from your ruins. Because when you build your life on truth, not illusions, you don't just heal, you awaken.